Welcome to another episode of our live stream, My Journey to the Trinity. I know I got a lot of stuff going on here on the screen. I got the ketchup. I got ketchup and to remember Sheikh Othman. Um, got Pinky. Got my sign. Got my, oops, don't need this. Got my candy canes. So hope you guys are having a good day. Hello, Abla. God bless you. Hello, Jack Ray. Hello, Tiger. Hello, the world of Foak. One. Hello, Waraka, daughter. God bless you. Marion, God bless you. Jack Ray. And Nusrat Khan. Nusrat Khan. Nusrat Khan, I don't know if you are a Muslim, but if you are, we welcome you to come on. We will stop whatever we're doing if we have a Muslim to talk to you. The priority is to speak to Muslims. So I'm going to go ahead and put the link here. If there's a Muslim here, if Nusrat Khan is a Muslim, you're welcome to come on. Here's the link. If there's any Muslims here, you're welcome to come on. And I remind you today, actually, probably going to stay this way for a while, is that we're streaming on Twitch, and we're streaming on Facebook and on YouTube. So we're streaming on three different. So if there's Muslims here, we welcome you to come on. Here's the link. Just push on it and you can it'll come up here. So yeah, I've been watching, I've been kind of obsessed with the Salvatore Mundi recently. I've been watching the video. Let me just show you the video. This painting, and here's, you guys have seen it, I'm sure, 10 million times. Oops. Yeah, here it is. The picture of Jesus here by, it's lots of the top scholars say this is a real Leonardo da Vinci painting, and it was restored because it had been painted over and messed up so much. It had been owned by three kings of England, and one of them, when he got it, or while he had it, he was beheaded, and his possessions were all given away to pay his debts. And so, but this was owned by three kings of England. And as you guys may remember, I don't know if you do, but the amazing thing about it is, it became the most expensive painting in history. They were expecting. They said some bad things about this painting, but because a lot of people didn't believe it was really Da Vinci. But when they looked at the hair, when they looked at the fabric, when they looked at the detail in the glass orb, it's not glass, it's something else. I can't remember what it's called. But and the detail in the hand, they said only Da Vinci paints like this, the blessing hand. So anyway, let's just watch the what was amazing to me is they were barely expecting to break even with it. Yeah. But it ended up getting $400 million, and or 450 million actually. And surprisingly, it was a Muslim who bought it. Surprisingly, it was a Muslim, and Muslims aren't even allowed to have pictures of prophets, what their perceived prophets. So it's strange that a Muslim would have bought it. But anyway, let's just see a little bit of the auction.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, we move to the Leonardo da Vinci, the Salvatore Mundi, the masterpiece by Leonardo of Christ the Saviour, previously in the collections of 3 kings of England, at 90 million. 95, and I go 110 over here. 110. I have it at 110 million. Who'll give me 120? Give me 140. 130 million. 140 million is bid at 140 million with Alex at 140 million. 150 might take it at 140 million holding at the moment. Where is that? 150. Welcome at 150 million on the left. 160 might take it at 150 million. Many places still. 160 is bid back to Alex at 160 million. At 190 million, give me 200. 190 is bid. 200 million is bid. At 200 million. At 200 million. 200 million, please. 200 million is bid. Give me 10. At 200 million is bid. 200 million is here. Currently hanging with Alex on my right. At 200 million for the Leonardo. At 200 million, looking for 210. Sir, are you coming back in? At 240 million. Currently. 245 million is bid. At 245 million. 250 million is bid. It's back to Francois de Porter at $266 million. 268 million, you heard it, ladies and gentlemen. Back to Alex at 268. Are we all out here? It's at 270 million, the hand goes up. 270 against you. Alex, would you like 275? Might do the trick. 270 million, back to Francois de Porter. Loic, are you out? You all done? Want to pop back in with a 5? 280. 280 million. The increment of 10 million, ladies and gentlemen, at 280 million. With Alex. At $280 million. Are we all done? Maybe not. Don't take the photograph quite yet. 286 million. 286 million. Will you give me 290, Alex? 300. I thought so. 300 million. Let's see if that's done it. 300 million. At 300 million is still with Alex. At $300 million for Salvatore Mundi by Leonardo da Vinci. At $315 million. Not yours at the moment. Give me a bid. 318 is bid. The hand went up. At 318 million now. At $318 million. With Francois. 320 million. We're still not done. At 320 million. At the Porter. 330 million. At 330 million. With Alex's client. Ahead of you here. 335. For those of you following online, you may not have heard it. The bid was 350 was called on the telephone. At 350 million for Leonardo Salvatore Mundi. At 350 million here at Christie's at 350 million, and looking for another bid, please, Francois, at 350. Pause at 350 million. $355 million is bid. Would you like 340? 55 is bid. 360 will be next. 370 is bid. 370 million. $370 million. Back to Francois' client at $370 million, ladies and gentlemen. 400 million.
Yeah, one thing you couldn't hear there is just the people's reaction when they were, it just kept going up and up and up. And it just like, wow, how did that, it was so, and it came out actually to like $450 million because of the fees and everything. And so, it was like, dang, that was amazing. And it's a picture of Jesus. And just before we go on, I know they're jumping, that's I'm kind of curious why. And it's a Muslim, you guys, who bought it. And so I just want to show you some of Da Vinci's paintings. Okay. Leonardo da Vinci, he's the #1 artist. He's better than Michelangelo. He's better than, all the others. He is the #1 artist, and his paintings were most of them had biblical. This is supposedly the Annunciation when Jibril, the real one, of course he didn't look like that either, but Gabriel came to Mary. Then this is Mary with Jesus. This is Jesus being baptized. This is some lady. This is again Jesus with his mother. See the halo there. This kind of a drawing. Again, Jesus and his mother. I guess this is like Daniel in the lion's den. This is again Jesus with his mother. Jesus with his mother again, Mary. I'm not sure who this is. Okay, the portrait of a musician. This right here is extremely, extremely famous painting. And what's really amazing about this painting is the animal. The animal that's in her hand, is the detail in it is just phenomenal. And then Belle Ferronnier, Madonna and Child, big theme, Madonna. And then this is his most, if it's not the most famous, it's the second most famous, which is The Last Supper. And this is, I believe it's in Milan now. And one of the most famous paintings in the world. And then there's Virgin with Child, Saint Anne. Here's the Salvatore Mundi. Another Madonna, and then the most famous. This is the most famous painting in the world, the Mona Lisa. And one of the reasons they say that that they're almost 100% sure that the Salvatore Mundi is Leonardo is look at the smile on the Mona Lisa, and then look at on the Salvatore Mundi. the mouth is very similar. And so, okay, this is John the Baptist. This was also another, they say that his spiritual paintings, it kind of got this almost a fog, but the detail in the hand the hand is usually the closest thing to you on his paintings. And so anyway, I just wanted to show you some of that. I'm a big Leonardo da Vinci fan. And when I was a Muslim, I was very impacted by Leonardo da Vinci's paintings. And so, yeah, I just wanted to look at a couple things, because, it was almost sure that it was bought by the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. And you got to wonder, what does he want with it? What does he want with it? And why was he willing to pay $450 million? $450 million for this, especially when you consider the way Islam feels about art and depictions of prophets. Let me see here. I'm not sure if I got everything here. Because in Islam, as I'm sure you all know, it's a very problematic to have pictures of prophets. I mean, it could. We all know what happened, in regard to the pictures of Muhammad that Charlie Hebdo. Let's just look at a couple of things here about what Islam says. You know what? I'm not sure I want to start there yet. Well, if you were to look in the Quran or in the Hadith about depicting Muhammad, there's nothing that's 100% says you can't do it, that it's forbidden to do it. Now, can I walk with my black dog when Abdul's exit the mosque on Fridays? You can, but the better time to do is when they're doing a prayer out in the middle of the street and there's 100 of them. It's a good time to go walk with the black dog, okay? Because that will invalidate their prayer. So, yeah. Okay. And while there's nothing 100% concrete in the Quran or in the Hadith, there are Hadiths that talk about images and stuff, but nothing that says it's forbidden to make a picture of Muhammad. Okay. But there were fatwas. Fatwas is like a decree by some religious leader. Here's one by the Taliban that was, remember when after September 11th attack, that the Taliban began destroying statues of Buddha in Afghanistan. And the Taliban made a fatwa. In their fatwa, the Taliban decreed that all non-Islamic statues and shrines in Afghanistan be destroyed. However, this very modern decree remains entirely silent on the issue of figural images and sculptures within Islam, which conversely had been praised as beneficial and educational by Muhammad Abdu, a prominent jurist of 19th century Egypt. So some Muslim leaders said it's good to have pictures, okay, but the vast majority, let's see, our brother, dang, okay, I'll show that. The depiction of Muhammad is even when I was a Muslim, I was always told, if you depict him, you got to kind of put like a injury on his neck or something to show that he's not alive, because there was considered like idolatry. And while Islam has been described as a faith that is largely aniconic, i.e., that avoids images and figural imagery, has nonetheless been a staple of Islamic artistic expression, especially in secular private contexts. And today, Muslim majority countries are saturated with images, dolls, and other arts. Indeed, a variety of Muslim patrons commissioned illustrated manuscripts replete with figures and animal imagery from the 13th century onward. So, there were pictures, it seems like Islam never really made up their mind. For instance, they allowed this. Now, this was supposedly a picture of Muhammad around the 5th century. And look, one thing I knew is that you're not supposed to ever show his face. You're supposed to put like a white cloth on his face or something. But here, obviously, they're showing his face. And this was around, around the 8th century, about between 100 and 200 years after Muhammad, so that they were showing his face at that time. Apparently, it was permitted. And like I said, there's nothing 100% in the Quran, or in the Quran for sure there isn't, and in the Hadith it's not 100% clear, to where Muslims are very confused. And this, by the way, you guys, is when he was up supposedly when he went up to meet with all the prophets in Jannah during his magic donkey ride. I do not see the donkey here, but that there's a wing over here. Maybe that wing is Burak, the donkey. But so this is, so they did allow this. And is this it right here? Yeah, this is the same thing right here. Okay. But then, and then they also had this. Again, there's his face. Doesn't seem like they have a problem with it. I guess this is supposed to be Jibril. There's the wings. And don't see the donkey. But you see the crown right there? They kind of make him out to be this like kingly figure. Okay. And there's all these angels here. So that, and very clearly you see his face. Okay. Again, this is like from the 6th century. And so, but then as time passed, and let me see here. 4. As time passed, they started becoming a little bit more strict about this. And what's this? Okay. Yeah, this is around the 15th century that they started to cover his face. See the way his face is covered there? That's what they started doing. They started covering his face. So they started saying, you know what? You cannot show his face. Okay, just a few hundred years earlier, you had this. But then around the 15th century, they says that you're messing with his perfection and holiness when you draw him. So they started covering his face like that. Or if they drew his face, they would draw it with, make it white, completely white. And I remember once when I was a kid, I drew a picture of Muhammad riding on the donkey. And I remember I drew his face white because you're not allowed to show his face. Okay. So, but that began around the 15th century, around the 1500s, that the images of Muhammad started being, his face would not be shown. They could show his hands, they could show his body and stuff, but they cannot show his face. Okay. So, okay, that's okay. Let's just look at a couple things here. It says, okay, that's we're not ready for that yet. So anyway, you can see here that they started 4, 3, and 4. I'm pretty sure we read. Okay, they so this is what started happening, but then it had been kind of a quiet thing about the images of Muhammad until 2005. And then in 2005, I don't know if you remember, there was a Danish newspaper, a Danish newspaper in Denmark that drew cartoons of Muhammad in the newspaper. They drew a bunch of cartoons of Muhammad in the newspaper, and it started riots all over the world, Muslim riots, boycotts of Danish products. And I think that Nestle is a Danish company. Excuse me a second. Excuse me one second, you guys. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Just 1 second. Okay. So anyway, but then in the 2005, when the Danish cartoons, and I was living in Gaza. I was living in Gaza when they, oops. I was living in Gaza when the Danish cartoons, and I was working at a place called the Bible Society, uh, and they had the Bible Society back then in Gaza, and and they actually in Gaza they bombed the Bible Society. They bombed the Bible Society because of these cartoons in the Danish newspaper. And so, and it was riots all over. I don't know if you guys remember when that happened, when they did that. It was a very huge thing. And and then and then a few years later, there was the Charlie Hebdo, and Charlie Hebdo magazine in France, they drew a bunch of cartoons of Muhammad. And let me see if I could write this here. Okay, where is it? Where is it? Okay, where is it? Okay, okay. On the 7th of January 2015, uh, employees of the French satirical magazine Charlie Hebdo were targeted in a terrorist shooting by two French-born Algerian Muslim brothers, Saeed Kouachi and Sharif Kouachi. They had rifles and other weapons, and they murdered 12 people and injured 11, identifying themselves as members of Al-Qaeda in Paris, in the Arabian Peninsula, which claimed responsibility for the attack. They fled the shooting, but they were caught. And so when they made this image of Muhammad, and there was a bunch of others, other cartoons, they killed 12 people, the Charlie Hebdo. And remember, that's see the sign, this supposedly a picture of Muhammad, and it says, "I am Charlie." And that became a real popular saying around the world, "I am Charlie," because everybody empathized with them, you know, after the because they killed those 12 people. And and so it was very controversial to make an image of Muhammad. In fact, Turkey has even made a movie. Turkey made this movie. It was called The Message, which is the story of Muhammad, and this is supposed to be Muhammad, played by Anthony Quinn. And Anthony Quinn also played the high priest in Jesus of Nazareth. But most Sunni countries would not allow them. The Al Azhar University would not allow them to play this movie because it depicts Muhammad. So I know my relatives made me watch this movie once. I went to their house and they made me watch it, and I wasn't very happy. It's called El Risale, The Message, just trying to make Muhammad look good. And of course, the LA Times says spectacularly done. Okay. But depiction of Muhammad is very controversial, and so is depictions of all prophets. Okay. And in Islam, you're not supposed to do it. And let's just look at a couple things here. It says there exists many handbooks of Islamic law that compile opinions on a number of matters in regard to image making. The earliest, most synthetic source is a medieval book by Ibn Qudama, a towering Sunni theologian. In his book, he discusses various possible abominations that can occur at a wedding ceremony, including the playing of music, playing backgammon, consuming liquor, and the presence of images. As for the legality of images, he notes that the question is complicated because it depends on what images depict and where they are situated. Okay, so it's not 100% sure. They weren't 100% sure whether it was forbidden or not. But then there was another guy, very famous, Ibn Taymiyyah. Ibn Taymiyyah, who had a lot of influence on today's Wahhabis and Salafis, penned a number of legal opinions. In his collection, Ibn Taymiyyah warns that images should not be used as a way to get closer to God, to seek his intercession, or request a favor from him. He also notes that Muslim practices must be differentiated from Christian ones, the latter defined by the prolific presence of images in churches. So Ibn Taymiyyah, he kind of pushed it, made it even stronger, this ban on religious images. And let's see, the authentic movie of the life of Muhammad would be X-rated and banned from theaters. Yes, and also would be banned from the internet too for the pedophilia. But there actually is someone who talked about making. I don't know if you know about Son of Hamas. Son of Hamas. Shoot, his brain just. I mean, his name just. Ibn Yusuf Mus'ab. Mus'ab. I forgot his last name, but he's wanting to make a movie about the life of Muhammad from the Hadith, with all the filth and the Green Prince. Yes. So he wants to do. I hope he does it, man. But dude, yeah, Mus'ab Yusuf. You know what? Everything is from it's from their books. In fact, there was another movie. I don't know if Mus'ab Hassan. I don't know if you remember, there was a movie called The Innocence of Muslims. This was when Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State, and we had soldiers in Libya. We had some people from the State Department or something in Libya, and this Egyptian guy, made this movie called The Innocence of Muslims, and it was a terrible it's so terrible, but it had some of the it had like the test of the thighs, where Khadija made Muhammad sit on his left thigh and then her right thigh, and in order to see if the Gabriel was an angel or a devil. Um, and so it had that in that movie. It was a terrible, terrible, cheap little thing. He probably made it with his own phone. Uh, but it, like the Danish cartoons, it caused huge riots around the world. And one of the places where the riots happened was in Libya. And there was a American employee of the State Department in Libya, and he was killed in these riots. He was killed in these riots. And so you know, it's very serious. It's a very serious thing to have the pictures of Muhammad. And the prophet was asked about a mouse that had fallen into butter fat and died. He says, throw away the mouse and the portion of butter around it and eat the rest. Yes. He had such wisdom, man. It's just like amazing wisdom. Um, yeah. Oh, here it is. Innocence of Muslims was a 2012 anti-Islamic short film that was written and produced by Nicola Basili. Nicola, yeah. The huge controversy. There was a huge controversy around this, and it got dangerous. And even I kind of think Hillary Clinton was behind trying to blame the riots on this movie, because it's possible that it was just a stupid policy, Hillary Clinton's stupid policy in Libya, that caused those riots. But because they didn't want to take responsibility, my opinion is they foisted the blame on this stupid little movie that nobody saw. Okay. Yeah, and you know, two versions of the 14-minute video were uploaded on YouTube July 2012 under the titles The Real Life of Muhammad and the Muhammad movie trailer. I don't know if they're still on, but man, it caused riots all over the place. Yes, the Libyan riots of 2013, right? And Muhammad wasn't shown in the message. Oh, really? I thought that guy, I thought long time ago, before I knew the film producers were living, lying through their teeth to their, oh, okay. I thought it was, but okay. But anyway, Al Azhar University still forbade Sunni Muslims from watching it. Uh, Turkey did allow people to watch it. Okay. And it had a very famous actor, Anthony Quinn, and I lost my respect for him after that. Um, yes. So, in fact, I was working with Father Zechariah. I was working with Father Zechariah during these riots, the Libya riots. And you know what? The stupid newspaper, and I'm not going to say it was the Los Angeles Times, but I think it was the Los Angeles Times. And I used to work for them, so I'm biased in their favor. But on this case, I really disrespected them. And the Chicago Tribune, I believe the New York Times, all wrote that Father Zechariah was partly to blame for that movie, Innocence of Muslims. And it was dangerous back then. I mean, it was really dangerous back then. To be associated with that movie, you could lose your life. It was so dangerous. The Muslims were so angry about that movie, and there were riots all over the place. And so these idiots, Chicago Tribune, New York Times, LA, I'm not sure if the LA Times, maybe the LA Times, I can't remember if they did, but there was a reporter. There was a reporter um, who went to the house of Father Zechariah, and on TV showed the house and everything. And they're looking for this guy. They're looking for Father Zechariah. They were looking for him long before this movie. But and this stupid reporter went there endangering his life. Stupid idiot reporter. But anyway, so they tried to blame Father Zechariah for that. And Father Zechariah did an episode. He did a special program because there was so much attention on him. you know, he's got a $60 million price on his head from Al Qaeda anyway. So anything the stupid liberal media Islamists want to do to him doesn't bother him. And in fact, what he said is, whenever you have a pulpit, preach from it. And so he did, and he asked me to translate for him. So he did it. He spoke in Arabic, and I translated it into English because it was really a message to the Americans. It was really a message to the Americans. Hey, I had nothing to do with this movie. He was just saying that he had nothing to do with that movie, Innocence of Muslims. And he even said that there were mistakes in the movie. He said one of the mistakes in the movie is that the movie says Muhammad had 60 women. And Father Zechariah said he did not have 60 women. He had 66. I remember when he said that, I cracked up. Anyway, he said the movie, he had nothing to do with it. I mean, the stuff that he's done has been much more controversial than that dumb movie. But just that the media endangered his life like that, the stupid reporter, I'll never forgive him for that. Well, Father, forgive him. Father Zechariah forgave him. They gave him a platform and he preached the gospel from it. So anyway, so that's kind of the issue, and with images of prophets and stuff. So let me show you a couple other things here. You know, the terrorist organization CARE. In Texas, they've designated CARE as a terrorist organization. I think President Trump is trying to designate them as a terrorist organization in America too, but I'm not sure if they have yet. But anyway, at this time, CARE wrote to Chief Justice William Rehnquist to request that a sculpture of Mohammed in the Supreme Court of the United States should be removed or sanded down because it included images of great lawmakers in history, including Muhammad. So there's a statue of Muhammad in the Supreme Court, you guys. I wish CARE would have succeeded in this. I wish that Judge Rehnquist would have thrown that thing out. I didn't know that a statue of Muhammad is in the Supreme Court. Yeah, and so CARE during this time asked the Supreme Court to sand down the picture because they don't like to have images of Muhammad. You know, but they did not. They were not. Justice Rehnquist did not agree to their demand, so it's still there. But what about images of Jesus? Are images of Jesus permitted in Islam? Now, images of Muhammad, it depends who you ask. On Monday, it could get you killed. On Tuesday, it'll get you a slap. And don't forget, you guys, the Charlie Hebdo. Remember the Charlie Hebdo when they killed the 12 people in France? That it was not too long after that happened that there was a teacher in a French school, a French teacher in a school in France, and he showed the Charlie Hebdo cartoons in his class just to educate the kids about what caused the Charlie Hebdo massacre. He just showed them, like, to his students, saying it's important that you guys know that this is what happened. And as a result, that kid's father met that teacher and cut his head off, killed him. So it's a deadly serious, terrifying thing, you know. And you could say, well, the Quran doesn't say nothing about it. You could say, and the Hadith isn't very clear about it. But these people are convinced that it is Islam and that it's an insult to Islam to have any depiction of Muhammad. And so, and they cause these riots, these murders, these deaths because of these pictures of Muhammad. And so, but what about the pictures of Jesus? Is the pictures of Jesus also prohibited? We'll see. I will show you some hadith that seem to indicate that also pictures of Jesus are not permitted. And all of this to come back, all of this, I'm asking all of this and talking about all of this just to go back to this, because it was a Muslim who bought this. It was a Muslim who bought this. And you think, why would a Muslim buy this? Even the secular humanists like the New York Times are asking, why would a Muslim whose religion doesn't allow them to look at these images of prophets, what do they want with it? Why would they pay $500 million for it? And so let's see, daughter said something. Steve, there was also another teacher recently was unalived because one of his students lied. Oh, really? Yeah. I mean, there was also a lady, I don't know if you remember, this was in Africa, in Kenya or something. And she was a teacher, and she brought a teddy bear to class. She brought a teddy bear to share with the kids. And she named the teddy bear Mohammed. She named the teddy bear Mohammed. And they were going to kill her. They ended up putting her in prison or something because she named a teddy bear Mohammed while she was teaching the kids. Dude, it was insane. Let me see if I can find that. Okay. Okay, this was in 2007. Okay, let me show you this. This is insane. This was insane, man. This teacher left her comfortable life in the West to go teach kids in Africa, and look what happened. A Sudanese teddy bear blasphemy case concerns a 2007 arrest, trial, and conviction, imprisonment, and subsequent release of British schoolteacher Gillian Gibbons, who taught children of middle-class Muslim and Christian families at the Unity High School. High school, that's not even little kids, in Khartoum, Sudan. She was convicted of insulting Islam by allowing her class of 6-year-olds to name a teddy bear Mohammed. So it wasn't even her. She didn't name the teddy bear Mohammed. The kids did, the 6-year-old, and they put her in jail. They imprisoned her and charged her. It says one class she held an activity where teddy bear was used as a teaching tool, asking the 6-year-old kids to select a name, with possible names being collected on a list. A boy named Mohammed added his own name. The class agreed to use the name Mohammed on the account of the name being a common one. Jillian was arrested for insulting Islam. While it was originally thought the complaint had originated from a parent of one of the children, the boy's own parents, as well as those of other pupils and the teaching assistant, who was Muslim, defended Gibbons. However, it was later revealed that the office assistant employed at the school, Sarah Khawad, had filed the complaint and was the key witness for the prosecution. Khawad was said to be angry with the school's head teacher. I was used by the secretary to get at the school. Oh, so she was used. Gibbons told the Guardian shortly after her release. Okay. Sudan's legal system, strongly influenced by Sharia, prohibits depictions of Muhammad and other prophets. However, many Muslim organizations in other countries publicly condemn the Sudanese over their reaction, as Gibbons did not set out to cause offense. The chairman of the Unity School, Ezekiel Kondo, indicated that he perceived ulterior motives in the affair. The thing may be very simple, but they just made it bigger. It's kind of blackmail. Okay. On 25th of November, Gibbons was arrested, interrogated, and put in a cell by local police. On November 28th, 3 days later, it was reported that she had been formally charged under section this law of insulting religion, inciting hatred, sexual harassment, racism, prostitution, showing contempt for religious beliefs. What the heck? This carries a sentence of imprisonment, a fine, or 40 lashes. On November 29th, Gibbons was found guilty of insulting religion, one of the 3 counts against her, and was sentenced to 15 days imprisonment and deportation. The Muslim Council of Britain said the punishment was completely unjustified and it was appalled. Yeah, I'm sure. And called on the Sudanese government to intervene. On November 30th, approximately 10,000 protesters took to the streets of Khartoum, some waving swords and machetes, demanding Gibbons' execution. Yeah, boy, yay! This old lady, man. After imams, of course, denounced her during Friday prayers. During the march, chants of shame, shame on the UK, no tolerance, execution, kill her by firing squad were heard. Yeah, boy, yay. And government employees were involved in the protest. Gibbons was then moved to a safe location. My goodness. Islam is what Islam is. Yeah, boy, yay, yeah, boy, yay. Yeah, boy, yay. So, anyway, just to show how crazy, But this is what this guy says. Look what this guy says about pictures of Jesus. Okay, Dr. Marwan Shaheen, a professor at El Azhar, said, first of all, we'd like to clarify that the existing photos you refer to are not real pictures of Isa, okay, and his mother, Lady Miriam. The existing photos are no more than imaginations. As a Muslim, it is not permissible to keep such pictures because keeping them is an evidence that you believe that these pictures are the real pictures of Jesus and his mother, while it is not true. Furthermore, keeping those pictures may give rise to a feeling of reverence, which was precisely the main thrust of the prohibition of taswir. Having said this, you have to steer clear of keeping such pictures in order not to get into the realm of what is haram. So it's close to haram, apparently, to this guy, even though it's caused all these deaths and riots and Here's a few. Now, the word that he used there, taswir, that in Arabic, the word for a picture is surah. It sounds the same as the word, surah of the Quran. Like Quran has 114 surahs, okay? But this is different. It's not talking like surahs like the Quran. Surah means like a picture. Surah. Taswir means making pictures. Okay, there's a prohibition, and here's a few of the hadiths that talk about that. So, it says, she reported Muhammad as saying, those who will receive the severest punishment on the day of resurrection will be they who imitate what God has created. Okay. In Arabic, let me see, called أشد الناس عذابا يوم القيامة الذين يضاهون بخلق Allah. Okay, يضاهون. Okay. Okay, this is in Mishkat al-Masabih. There's another one. There are many others, actually. I'm just going to show you a few because most of them say pretty much the same things. Okay, Omar said, those who paint pictures would be punished on the day of resurrection, and it would be said to them, breathe soul into what you have created. Whatever. Okay, Sahih Muslim. You see this? Okay. So anyway, so those are some of the reasons why it is kind of unbelievable that a Muslim paid $400 million. It's not 400 million, 450 million, because when you put all the fees together, it's like $453 million for this picture of Jesus, for a picture of Jesus. And you got to wonder why. Could it be? I have some theories. You know, okay, I have three theories. I have three theories, and I'd like to do a poll. I'd like to ask you guys. Now, if you agree with theory one, okay, if you agree with theory one, with the first theory, please put a one, okay? If you agree with the second, put a two. And if you agree with the third, put a three. Why did a Muslim, possibly the king of Saudi Arabia, the crown prince of Saudi Arabia, buy this painting, making it the most expensive painting in all of history? This picture of Jesus. Why did a Muslim? Oh, thank you. Sir Clips a lot just reminded me we're not supposed to say three. So, well, let's say it in Hebrew then. In Hebrew, I want to say it in Arabic, thalath, but the Quran specifically says not to say thalath. I want to say it in German, eins, zwei, drei, but I think it'd be good to say it in Hebrew. Echad, ishtain, shalosh. So if you agree with three, number shalosh, just put a three. Okay. All right. My first theory: why a Muslim that's not allowed to have pictures of prophets paid almost $500 million for a picture of Jesus is that he wants to put it in a museum in Dubai, in Abu Dhabi. If you believe the museum theory, put number one. Now, the museum theory, why is that important? Who is going to be drawn to these museums? Think about Arab greed. I'm an Arab, so it's not racist for me to say this. Okay. Think about Arab greed. How are you going to lure Europe's Christians to come and spend their tourism dollars in Arabia? You put the most famous painting in the world, the most expensive painting in the world, and it's a painting of Jesus by the most famous, most important artist in all of European history, Leonardo da Vinci. In that museum in Dubai, you're going to get gazillions of dollars in tourism dollars for having a Christian painting of Jesus and it's the Louvre, the French museum, the Louvre. That's the most important museum in the world. That's the one that has the Mona Lisa, by the way. And they're opening a branch of the Louvre in Abu Dhabi. And so if they put that picture of Jesus in there, you're going to get Christians from all over the planet going there because of that picture of Jesus. And so my number one theory is the museum greed. You can say the museum and greed factor. So that would be number one. If you agree, it's because of that. The number two reason is because he is so concerned as a Muslim that the image of Jesus not be used, and that he's so afraid of it being haram to have an image of Jesus. So he wants to take it, to hide it away, so no one will ever look at the picture of Jesus. And so he's doing it because of his Islamic purity and haram purity, and maybe he's a secret Wahhabi, which doesn't want. So we'll call that the number 2 is the Ibn Taymiyyah. Ibn Taymiyyah. So if you agree with the Ibn Taymiyyah, because he's such a good Muslim and he doesn't want the picture of Jesus out there, that he bought it just to hide it away so people don't imagine that they're really looking at Jesus. So that will be, if you agree that you think it's number 2, Ibn Taymiyyah, then put number 2. And then the number 3 reason, which is what I hope. I hope it's the number 3. And that is that the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia is an ex-Muslim who loves Jesus. And he wants that picture. If you agree with that, put a 3. Okay, it's time to vote, you guys. So every one of you, okay, there's 14 of you guys here. Let's see which one wins out. If you think it is because of Arab greed, put a number 1. You guys are so trusting. Nobody thinks it's because of Arab greed. No. Okay. We have nobody saying number 1. Yay. Wow. If you think it's because he's such a good Muslim and he doesn't want people to, he doesn't believe there should be a picture of Jesus, put number 2. Oh, we got a number 1. We got 1-1. Oh, 2 number 1s. Okay, we got 2 number 1s. Okay. If you think it's because he's such a religious Muslim who just doesn't want to see that the image of Jesus be out there, put a number 2. Okay. And if you think, like I hope, that he is an ex-Muslim who loves the Lord Jesus and wants that picture because he's a Christian, Christian Arabia, yeah, rock and roll, put a number 3. Okay, we got 1, 2. Okay, and if you think it's number 3 because he is a Christian now, put a number 3. Yeah, that's number 2, that he doesn't want Christians. Okay, we got 1 number 3. All right. But you know what, Sir Clips a lot. I think you got a 2 and a 1 and 3. Oh no. Okay, we got 2 number 1s. We got 1 number 2, and we got 1 number 3. We're talking about the greed of the Arab, though. I bought it. So, okay, we got another number 1. You guys, Arab greed won this one. So, oh, yeah. Well, you know what? Oh, so you got number 3 too? Okay. Well, we got 2 number 3s. 2 number 3s, 1 number 2, 3 number 1s. So I think at number 1 is the wins it out. I want to show you guys a couple things from our brother Truth Defender. He always sends interesting things. Okay. You know, our brother Truth Defender reminds us that artwork is permitted in paradise. Artwork is permitted in paradise, in Jannah. But there's a lot of things that are forbidden on earth that are permitted in Jannah, don't you know? For instance, alcohol, which is not permitted on earth, is permitted in Jannah. So everything becomes legal when you're up there. Anything you want is permissible, okay? Muhammad did keep the picture of Mary and Jesus in the Kaaba, and he had pictures and idols at his house. Remember, Allah had to come to him and tell him, hey, dude, get rid of those idols in your house. And he went and he broke the heads off of them. And then Jibril once told him that he couldn't go into his house because he had these pictures on his curtains. So, the rules always change when it comes to Muhammad. There's special rules when it comes to Muhammad. Okay, so let's look at what our brother Truth Defender has sent us. Oops. Okay. Yeah, that's true. Islamic art was very famous. Islamic art was extremely famous. Islamic art, the most expensive Arabic and Islamic paintings. Pictures, arts from the 7th century onward by both Muslims and non-Muslims who lived within the territory. I wonder if they have. Okay, this is a beautiful painting of Zainab bint Jahsh. This is Muhammad, the woman that Muhammad um, fell in love with. It's his daughter-in-law. It was his daughter-in-law, or Zainab bint Muhammad. So this is Zainab, the daughter of Muhammad. Wow, she was really a looker. It's no Mona Lisa, you guys, but it sold for almost $18 million. It's not 450 million, but 18 million is not nothing for that. The break of the atom. Oh, the dervish, the whirling dervishes. These are Turkish dancers who spin faster than a top. I don't know if they get demonized. La Chadouf. Okay, this is Islamic, 1934. Garbag, 1.6 million. Oh, the Chadouf was 2.43 million. Oh, and you guys, it's written on their stuff too. Allah is written on here. You see Allah. You see Allah's written on there. And 666. He is merciful. Okay, it's written in many ways. 150,000. Oh no, for 1.16 million. Okay. It's the eagle. 1.14 million. Sarajevo. 1.14 million. Suez Canal, 1.2 million. Wonder if there's a really famous painting, a super famous painting called it was sold for like 4.3 million. No, or I think it sold for 30 million. It was called The Night of the Zut, and it was very just kidding. If the greedy Arabian buyer invites wealthy people to pay through the nose for beholding the port, he'll soon win back the million. Absolutely. Yep. But don't forget number 3, which is that he became a Christian. He loves Jesus and he just wants the painting there. I hope that's the case. And I hope it begins a revival, breaking Islamic norm. Remember that this crown prince, he's the one who wanted to throw 98% of the hadith in the garbage. He says, just get rid of them. We don't need them. We don't want them anymore. Let's just keep 100 hadith. Let's throw the rest, 98%, in the garbage. That's what he said. 98% of the hadith, with all this stuff about pictures and everything, throw it in the garbage and let's just keep the Quran and 100 hadiths. That's what he said. Mutawatir hadiths. So maybe there's a way of breaking that. Maybe it's to have that impact to break those Islamic traditions. I mean, look at the extremes here. You have some artists in in France drawing a picture of Muhammad and 12 of them being murdered in the name of Islam. And then you have a Muslim crown prince paying $500 million for a picture of Jesus. You know, and you think, wait a minute, this is wild, man. So yeah, I think it's wish thinking that he might be a believer, but you know what? With the stuff he's doing, you know, he allowed a church to be built in Arabia, a Coptic church to be built in Arabia. And so you think, maybe something's going on. You know, maybe something's going on that we don't know about. I don't know. So it is wishful. It is wishful. So anyway, guys, do we not have any Muslims? No Muslims came on? Well, just in case there's a Muslim here who would like to come up and talk to us, we'd love to talk to you. And if you do, here's the link. So, yep. So here it is. $450 million. It's the most expensive painting ever. Painting of Jesus. And you know, one thing they say, you guys, about this painting that I heard some guys talking about it, says if you look at the face of Jesus, it's a little bit cloudy, like it's far away, and it's as if, you know, but the eyes are looking at you, and they're looking right at you, and yet not in a it's in a way that if no matter where you go, he's looking right at your eyes, you know, and yet it's still, there's this like fog, as if it's in a different realm. But the hand, the blessing hand, is crystal clear, as if that hand is the closest thing to you. So it's perfectly clear. And and so they were just talking about that, you know, this is the way Leonardo da Vinci used to think. You know, he said that nothing has perfect edges. You know, everything is, you never see the edge of anything. You know, he used to study the eye and everything. And so they think they respect Jesus, and it may be a way to display that pseudo reverence. But that's true too, truth defender. But when they have such opposition to images of prophets and stuff, is that considered being respectful of him? Even though I got to tell you that, you know, when the movie The Passion of the Christ, when the movie The Passion of the Christ came out, I was in Gaza when that movie came out, you know, by Mel Gibson, and the Jews hated that movie. The Jews hated that movie, except for the believing Jews, because they said it made the Jews look bad, even though the woman who played Jesus's mother was a Jew. She was Jewish, Maria Morgenstern. I think Maria, it may not have been Maria, but you know what? The movie was a huge hit in the Muslim world. Passion of the Christ was a huge hit in the Muslim world. In fact, because the Jews opposed it so much, Hezbollah, you know, the terrorist organization Hezbollah, they have one of the biggest television stations in Lebanon. And they played the movie Passion of the Christ on their TV station just because the Jews hated it. So, you know, yep. A genuine Da Vinci is the greatest status symbol anyone can know. A greedy Arab wanting the picture for this reason is also very plausible. Yes, that is true. So that would go under number one as well. So, yes. All right, you guys. Well, this has just been, I've been thinking so much about this lately. And so I just kind of wanted to do a live stream about this. Da Vinci fan. Whoops. Oops. I was raptured, you guys. Sent back. I'm just kidding. I'm a big Da Vinci fan. I love The Last Supper. My favorite painting by him is The Last Supper. I love The Last Supper. And when I was a Muslim, um, I remember when I was a Muslim in my village, when I was a Muslim in my village in the Middle East, I was a Muslim at the time. I was a little kid, and there was one Christian, one or maybe two Christians in our village, and I was friends with this girl who was a Christian. I mean, she wasn't a girl; she was an old woman, but she said to me on the night that Jesus was betrayed, he said, the one who puts his hand in the plate with me is the one who will betray me. When she said that, my mind flashed back to the picture of the Last Supper, and the Holy Spirit just boom touched my heart, and I knew that that was the truth. And I told her, I said, that's the truth. That is the truth. And so that picture, the Last Supper, was instrumental in that, putting that image in my mind. And I said that is the truth. And so I wanted to share it with my Muslim friends there in the village, and everybody in the village was Muslim. But there was this gathering of people, and I went to it, and there was this girl who was walking around and she had been to Jerusalem, and she bought a cross, and they were mocking the cross, and she was mockingly putting the cross on this girl's neck. And I said to the girl, that's the truth. I'll tell you about it later. And you know what? The girl that the cross was being put on said to me, no, the truth is in the Quran. And something else touched my heart. And I went back to being a Muslim. And I tell that. Why do I tell that? The reason I tell that is to show that there are demonic powers in Islam. There's counterfeit spiritual experiences in Islam, like there is in Mormonism. Mormons talk about the burning in the breast. That's a big thing with the Mormons. They have the burning in the chest, you know, and other religions have these demonic experiences, and Islam has those demonic experiences as well. So anyway, all right, you guys. Well, thank you for being here, and thank you. We don't have any Muslims come on. I put the link if any Muslim wants to come on. We didn't have nobody. All right. Well, if you haven't done it, please do it now. Jesus, help me. Jesus, forgive me. Jesus, come into my heart. Jesus, help me. Jesus, forgive me. Jesus, come into my heart. يسوع ساعدني. يسوع سامحني. يسوع ادخل قلبي. We love you, but much more importantly, he loves you. Have a great night, and look forward to seeing you.
If you have ever wondered why dull apologists lie so much, it's because on a rare occasion that they tell the truth. This happens.
One of the reasons I accepted Islam was the scientific miracles. I'll be honest with you. And now we know that this whole scientific miracles was absolute nonsense.
You're going to have to repeat that.
That the standard narrative has holes in it. That's what I'm going to say.